What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. So we've got an insane week on our hands filled with earnings. That is a continuation of the earnings season for the first quarter of fiscal year 23. And not to mention, the more important aspect of next week is going to be inflation numbers. So we've got both the CPI and the PPI numbers being reported for the month of April. So in this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know for the upcoming week, and I've got a more specific, more dedicated video coming out on inflation later today that's going to give you a little bit more insight into my bear case, base case, optimistic, and bull case scenarios for the markets and how they might react once we get those inflation numbers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you do, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. The link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us, and of course getting access to all the binds alerts, options alerts, trade ideas. Everything's going to be included, as well as the private live streams and all the other benefits as well. So link's going to be down below. So this right here is going to be the earnings season. We got a lot of companies reporting. So I've already done videos on PayPal, Palantir, and Upstart. I will be talking about some of the other companies as well as the week progresses, as we get some more earnings from these companies. But really, the first ones to look at is going to be Tyson Foods before the markets open on Monday. Then we've got BioNTech. Six Flags is reporting, and that's going to be it. And then, of course, one of my bigger positions and the stocks that I do own, PayPal, is reporting on Monday after the markets close, along with Palantir. Devon Energy, we've got Lucid, Skyworks, and Suncor also reporting on that very same day in the beginning of the week after the markets close. On Tuesday, we've got Novavax, we got Nikola, we got DigitalOcean, Under Armour, and then EVgo, as well as Duke Energy before the markets open. And then after they close, we've got Airbnb, we got Rivian, Occidental, Twilio, Affirm, Upstart, Wynn Resorts, Dutch Brothers, Celsius. All of these very, very interesting businesses. Out of them, I don't own any of these companies. In fact, for the next week, I only own PayPal and Palantir among the ones that are actually reporting their numbers. I can't find anything else that is reporting that's going to be super interesting for me personally, because I don't own it, but I would still be paying attention to those companies because Occidental, we know that Warren Buffett owns a big piece of Occidental, and he's been consistently buying that stock, and oil prices have been coming down. So I'm going to be quite interested to see what their guidance looks like and what the actual numbers look like. Twilio, fantastic software business, done really well, but of course more recently has been sold off quite aggressively. Airbnb has potential. It's a very similar analysis as Uber. I did a video on Uber last week, but Airbnb, I'm going to be taking a look at their company as well. I listened in on the CEO talking about AI and artificial intelligence and how they're going to incorporate that into their business to have better connections and better sort of networking solutions for their business moving forward. And of course, Upstart, it's a company that's really struggled in recent times. Of course, they're a combination of both AI and lending. So I've already done a video on them as well. Then on Wednesday, we've got Roblox reporting pre-market. We got Li Auto, Wendy's, and that's pretty much it. And then after the markets close, we got Walt Disney. We'll be interested in them definitely, along with Trade Desk. We got Unity Software, Beyond Meat, and Robinhood also reporting. And then Thursday, pre-market, we got JD.com, we got Fiverr, and that's pretty much it. And then after hours, there's nothing that piques my interest. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's any companies you want me to go over, but that is pretty much going to be it. Those are the companies that I'm paying attention to more specifically for next week. Now, this right here is going to be that economic calendar. So the first thing is first, we've got CPI numbers on Wednesday, May 10th. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. I will be live to cover those numbers. And like I said, there's going to be a more specific, more detailed video coming out later today going over CPI numbers and what the expectations are from those different scenarios. But that's going to be very, very important for the market, of course. I don't have to say it, but the market's really looking forward to some slower growth in inflation, of course, even lower inflation prints, so that the Fed can take a foot off its gas here and continue to, we can see that rate cuts that are being priced in from the market actually play out, right? That scenario needs to come into fruition if, of course, we see CPI come back down to the Fed's target. Then a day later, we've got the jobless claims, of course, but then we've also got PPI, which is going to be producer price index, more on the wholesale side. And it's going to be more giving us insight into the raw materials and the cost of inputs. And CPI is a little bit more on the consumer side. But remember, the Fed's preferred measure of inflation has always been the PCE. That's the personal consumption expenditure. And of course, we got the consumer sentiment coming out at 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday, as well as the import-export prices on that very same day as well. And there's going to be a few Fed members talking here and there. Christopher Waller, James Bullard, we got John Williams, we got Philip Jefferson. They're going to be talking here and there. But the most important aspect of next week is inflation, CPI, PPI, consumer sentiment, and of course, earnings. Now, this right here is going to be the expectations for CPI, 0.4% increase on a month-over-month basis, year-over-year at 5%, which is going to be pretty stagnant compared to where we were last month. 0.4% increase for core month-over-month, again, very similar to last month, and year-over-year coming down to 5.5%. We'll dig deep into these numbers in my other video, and PPI numbers are expected to once again accelerate a little bit. 0.3% month-over-month, year-over-year 2.5%, with X food and energy, so core PPI sitting at 0.2% month-over-month, and year-over-year at 3.3% as well. Now, talking about the market and how the markets are going into this week, so we've got the NASDAQ very much at a resistance, right? Something that we have talked about. So this right here is going to be that level at 12,200. We have gotten rejected at that level not once, not twice, 3 times, not even 4 times. But if you come back 5 times, if you come back 6 times, I didn't even highlight this area right here, but 7 times. 7 times we have gotten rejected here at this level for the NASDAQ. So yes, it's going to be a very important technical week as well, because we've just been consolidating in that range. So you can see that we've just been trading sideways over here for the market, and it's going to really come down to this level, really, where the bears are holding us down for the longest time. This right here is the market breadth, and again, I've done a video on this in more detail, but really what we're seeing right now is the market trade back to its February highs. So we're at the same level as where we were back in February. So this is just the same chart, but in a little bit more of a daily chart. So yeah, so this is more of a daily chart, a little bit more spread out. So what we're seeing is that we're at the same resistance. We've been consolidating sideways here, and we're at the same level from back in February, but the breadth is really, really weak. We're nowhere near close to 73%. In fact, we are almost half of that number at 41%. So what we're really seeing is this rally in the market, and the NASDAQ specifically be very, very concentrated and on the back of a handful of few names, right? Such as Apple and Nvidia and Microsoft and Google and Meta. Those are the companies that are really driving this move higher. And the breadth is really, really weak. Now, you can see this both from a bullish and bearish perspective, as I mentioned in my other video. Bullish perspective can be that if that participation grows, if this number starts to go to, let's say, 50%, 55, 60%, 70%, then it's a very strong probability that we start to see a breakout for the NASDAQ beyond this resistance of 12,300, and for us to get to 13K, 14K, eventually those are going to be some next targets. The bearish perspective is going to be, well, the breadth is really weak. If tech stocks, big tech, doesn't continue to outperform, and if it starts to lose steam and starts to roll over, well, that's going to hurt the market, and it's going to eventually make the market also come down and roll over as well. So again, it's really going to come down to next week whether we see a sector rotation, or we see a more broad-based rally, or we see some profit taking. This right here is the S&P 500. Again, very similar to the NASDAQ. We are coming up to that resistance again for yet another retest. That's going to be at 4,200. 4,200 has been a very, very critical area of resistance for the S&P for quite some time. Got rejected here back in February. If you come back, this right here was back in August, where we did see a brief breakout. And before that, in June, also we got rejected in 2022. And when it comes to the market breadth for S&P 500, a very similar picture, where we are seeing the markets once again trade back to the same level from back in February on weaker and weaker breadth. We were at 76% of stocks that were trading back above their 200 SMA, and now we're sitting at 48%. So fewer stocks are making the markets go higher. That's the bottom line. And this is the RSP. That's the equal weighted S&P 500 index. And what you'll notice is that if I actually draw a line on this, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw this line here. You can see that this right here is almost identical to that market breadth indicator we're looking at for the S&P 500. Right? This is the identical chart to this, which is the equal weighted index on the S&P 500. So once again, a little bit of a more proof really that there's only a handful of stocks that are making the markets go higher. So that's where we are for next week. It's going to be a pretty big week because technically we've got a big resistance on the S&P at 4,200, NASDAQ at 12,300. It's really going to come down to the bulls and the bears. Once again, the battle continues, and we've got the big catalyst of inflation and earnings also coming out. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. The link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are we going to see a breakout past this level for the S&P and the NASDAQ, Or are we going to see a little bit of rejection once again for the markets to start rolling over yet again? As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.